Hi, I'm Standard. I am pleased to extend my sincerest wishes for a blessed Ramadan to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. May the Almighty accept our acts of worship during this holy period. Enjoy my splendid story. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. It is a fact that if a person with a university degree is seeking employment as a cleaner, they have likely faced significant challenges in their career thus far. Regrettably, this is often overlooked by many individuals. Prior to getting married, I had a lucrative job as an accountant at an oil company. Thanks to my uncle's influence, I earned a monthly salary of 300,000 naira, which I believed was sufficient for me to start a family. After getting married, I managed to handle all the household expenses and needs without any complaints. However, my world came crashing down when my uncle left the company, and I lost my job 3 months later. Ever since then, I have been struggling to secure a job to take care of my responsibilities. But all my efforts have been fruitless. I confided in a friend about my job search, and he promised to help me. However, after waiting for 3 months without any communication from him, I received a call from him, informing me about a cleaner job opening in a nearby company around our area. I immediately requested for the company's address and decided to apply for the job. On Monday morning, I introduced myself to the company's manager, who happened to be an elderly person. I assumed he would understand my situation, but he turned out to be tough on me. After greeting him, I mentioned that I was a graduate and had heard about their need for a cleaner. He said yes. "Do you want to apply?" he asked. I quickly replied, "Yes sir, I seriously need a job." He then asked for my qualifications for the job. I told him that I was a first-class graduate and even brought my credentials for him to check. To my surprise, the man thought I was mocking him. He explained that he was asking for my qualifications for the specific job I was applying for and didn't have much time to waste. I then explained that back in my secondary school days, I used to wash the school toilet whenever I was caught speaking vernacular. During my undergraduate years, I also participated in general cleaning in our hostel. As the man was nodding his head, I thought he was interested in what I was saying, until he interrupted me and asked if I had worked in any organizations as a cleaner before. I replied, "No, only at home and school." He then told me that I was not qualified for the job because they were looking for someone with 2 years of experience in cleaning. I told him that I could do the job, as it was just cleaning. He didn't even feel sorry for me before saying that they couldn't employ me. He said they could only do me a favor by allowing me to reapply when I have 2 years of experience, and they would then consider me. I thought to myself, seriously? Consider me for an ordinary cleaning job? I wondered if I needed work experience before getting the job or if he was just trying to ruin my day. I stood up and left his office angrily, slamming his door on my way out. When I got home, I informed my wife what had happened, and she prayed for a better job for me. I stayed at home for almost 3 months without securing any job. I hated myself because I couldn't take up my responsibilities at home. Although my wife didn't bother me too much about it. My wife comes from a wealthy family, and whenever I ask her to help me seek a favor from her father, she always insists that her father is also busy. However, her father owns more than 2 companies that are being managed by other people. I have refrained from approaching him myself because he does not seem to like me for some reason, and I cannot quite understand why. I have tried to win him over with my good manners, but he still dislikes me. Maybe he thinks I only married his daughter for his wealth, but that is far from the truth. I was okay before we got married. That is why I wanted to use my wife's influence to persuade him. I believe if she talks to him, he might consider me for the sake of his daughter. Unfortunately, my wife has refused to do so. My wife frequently visits her family, and her father usually gives her money. I heard that he gives her money to maintain herself because he believes I cannot take care of her the way he wishes. She has never discussed my situation with her dad. I am so naive that I did not notice anything wrong. All I knew was that she always cooked luxurious meals at home, and whenever I asked where she got the money to buy those ingredients, she would tell me that her mother bought them for her. One day, I called her and begged her to talk to her father about my situation because I could not continue living like this. I need to have something to do or a place to go as my workplace. She promised to do something about it. A few days later, she called me and told me that her uncle had just bought a car that he wanted to use as an Uber, and he needed a driver he could trust. She told me to take the opportunity. I asked if she had reached out to her dad because I wished to work in an organization rather than being an Uber driver, given my educational background and experiences. She told me that her dad had no vacant positions to offer me, and said that I should decide whether to take her uncle's offer or not. I later decided to take up the offer since there was no other available opportunity. I told her that there was no problem and that I was ready to take the offer for the sake of our family. On Saturday afternoon, we went together to her uncle's house. After getting there, her uncle and I greeted each other. He told me that he was not going to decide for me and that I would be the one to decide how much I could deliver to him every single day of working. He said because I'm his in-law and did not want anything that would cause inconvenience for me. I told him that I could deliver 30,000 naira each day, although I had no experience of how it works. It was just a guess. Her uncle then said that I could give him 20,000 naira each day, and keep the rest of the money for my family. I thanked him and prayed for him. I honestly saw that as a huge favor, and indeed it was, because after I started the work, I could leave money at home for food and also pay some bills. I used to work from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and sometimes until 11 p.m. I was lucky enough to have been given the opportunity to meet some wealthy people in Lagos, who would call me for drop-offs every working day, from their home to their office door. Even on weekends, they would call me to take them to different occasions with their own cars, and they paid me handsomely, sometimes 50k or 100k transfer cash. Every morning, my wife would be the one to wake me up for work, telling me it was time. Sometimes, if I decided to rest at home instead of going out, she would be angry with me. She would say that I needed to work because she did not want me to have any issues with her uncle, even if I told her I had enough money to pay him for the day. Without going out, she would say that I needed to work in case of tomorrow. It has been almost 5 months since I started the job, and everything has been going smoothly until I received a call from my wife's uncle. He urgently requested that I should come to his house right away. I hurried to his place and sat down, trying to understand what was going on. He apologized to me and said that he had offended me for a long time. I was very confused, and I didn't know what he was talking about. He revealed to me that my wife was the true owner of the car I was driving for Uber. She had instructed him to pretend as the owner of the vehicle. When he asked her why she needed him to do that, she said she didn't want me to know that she owned a car. He said he had been troubled by her deceitful behavior ever since then. He continued by telling me that his daughter had been hospitalized, and the doctors required a payment of 3 million naira before they could proceed with the treatment. Unfortunately, he did not have that much money in his account. So, he called my wife and asked if he could borrow from her savings with him. However, she refused to allow him to access her savings, even though he tried to explain his situation. Instead, she came to his house and collected all her money from him. He concluded by saying that my wife was a cruel person. If she could did that for him despite being family, what if we are not? He said my wife is indeed a beast, that I should run away from her. Please, what is your opinion about this situation? Because I'm totally confused.